Hey guys, this is Geoff Ulrich with linemovement.com bringing you a 2020 Masters betting preview video. And in this video, we'll go over things like the course, talk a little bit about the weather for the week. We'll talk about the betting favorites, who's coming in with good form, some course history you might want to pay attention to. And we'll also go through my favorite betting picks for the week, some places where you might be able to find value in the outright betting department. So after you're done watching this video, make sure you check out linemovement.com. You can check out my Masters betting preview article. It's already up there on site. I'll be adding to it throughout the week with things like top 10, top 20, and matchup betting previews as well. So make sure you check that out. Let's get into the event, though. Let's talk about the Masters. And obviously, in 2020, we have a unique Masters taking place in November. This event, obviously, always an April staple. But this year, we're going to be seeing a fall Masters. And how will that play out? Well, by all counts and purposes, the course is looking just as green as always. So I'm not sure if Augusta itself will play differently. But I think the one thing that we need to pay attention to this week is the weather. It's going to be a little bit cooler. Obviously, sun setting a lot earlier in November than April, and it looks like there's a lot of rain in the forecast here. So expect a wet Augusta. How that'll end up affecting the course, it'll probably just end up making it play longer, guys getting less rollout. We have seen in the past that the greens can be a little bit easier to hold for the shorter hitters when it does get wet, but for all intents and purposes, a longer course generally will favor the bigger hitters. And Augusta over time has really turned into more of a bomber's track, players with really solid tee to green. If you're long off the tee, got a lot of room off most tee boxes. You can reach those par 5s with 7, 8 irons even. A guy like Bryson DeChambeau probably hitting wedges even into a lot of the longer par 4s. So, again, distance off the tee, strength off the tee, good drivers of the ball, and really just good tee to green play is an advantage here. But it's not the be-all, end-all either. Experience is a big factor. Look, the last two winners, Patrick Reed, Tiger Woods, as far as the modern tour player goes, they're not really up there in terms of the top 10% anymore. Tiger used to be, he's not anymore, but those guys just got it done with savvy play. So Augusta is also about experience. We often see experienced winners here. There's only been one first-time winner at Augusta. That was Fuzzy Zeller way back yonder when. Most winners here have had some kind of good result, a top 10 or a top 5 to kind of fall back on. So look for experience. It does matter at Augusta. There's a lot of young players coming in, though, and with how good this new young crop of players are, experience maybe doesn't matter as much as it does in the past, but it's still something to look at. So let's start talking about a little bit of the players, though. Let's get into the betting favorites. Right now we got Bryson DeChambeau as the favorite coming in. Now, Bryson has not played since the Shriners over a month ago now, obviously since his big win at the US Open, dominated there. I expect Bryson to once he figures this course out, to really dominate. But that being said, he hasn't had anything better than a top 20 here before. He's never finished inside the top 20, So, we're still sort of waiting on Bryson to put it all together. It's just a matter of, does he hit his irons well this week and does he sink a few putts? He's going to have a huge advantage off the tee. So Bryson definitely a deserving favorite, not necessarily someone I'd want to take on this week at that short price, especially with the bad weather. I'm more prone to taking guys with a little bit longer odds if that's going to be the case. If we're going to get a little bit of bad weather. Dustin Johnson, another guy who's right up there as the second favorite, coming off a great result last week in Houston, T2. He looked really good off the tee, coming off a COVID layoff. But, Dustin is a player does have a lot of experience. He finished runner-up here last year to Tiger. He's got top 6s in 3 of the last 4 seasons here. So Dustin Johnson could be in that realm of player, mid-30s type of player, really strong off the tee. And I do kind of feel like bad weather, Dustin Johnson, he's had a lot of success on the West Coast. I don't know if it's going to affect him as much as some of the other top players. So I'm pretty bullish on Dustin Johnson here. He's coming in as a second favorite. Not great value, but, plus 1,000 or whatever he's going at. I don't mind that price on him, quite frankly. As far as the other top players go, you got Justin Thomas and John Rahm, both those guys coming off near misses at the Zozo Championship. We've never really seen Justin Thomas get in contention at Augusta either. He was T12 last year, but definitely a player who's so consistent with his irons. It wouldn't shock me if this is the year Justin Thomas kind of gets involved. John Rahm, similar type of story. We have seen him have some success, though, at Augusta, John Rahm. Obviously, T4 the year that Patrick Reed won in 2018. T9 last year, the year that Tiger won. So John Rahm has been in contention, or been sniffing around the lead at Augusta, so to speak. he's coming in with really good form. Obviously, he kind of beast moded it tee to green at the Zozo Championship, just didn't quite sink enough putts. If he brings that same form to Augusta, especially with a bit slower greens, you could see John Rahm really excel this week. So interesting prices on them. Of the favorites, I would have to say Dustin Johnson is probably my favorite bet if you're going to go up there, but it's so tight among those top 5. And again, with the poor weather, I'm kind of looking at guys outside that range. So one last mention here. Let's talk about Tiger Woods for a sec. He's plus 3,400. Tiger's not had a top 20 on tour since coming back into form from the COVID rebreak. Now, look, this might look like a tempting price for Tiger, but quite frankly, he just hasn't shown anything. With how good all the other players are playing, probably a good time to lay off. So let's get into some guys that I don't actually mind betting here, though. The first one I'm going to mention is Patrick Cantlay at plus 2,500. 2,500 or better. Cantlay obviously coming off a win in his last event. You saw him at Augusta last year make a charge up the leaderboard, even had the lead for a split second late Sunday last year. This is just a good all-around player. And again, if it is going to be a little bit wetter, maybe not be as much of a score fest, I think that might favor a player like Cantlay who's just got a really good all-around game. Coming in with a lot of confidence. He's played a lot of golf too since the restart, which I like. So I like that price on Patrick Cantlay. We've seen him at almost half those odds before in fields similar to this. I think you're getting decent value on Cantlay. Similar speaking, a couple other players in that range. I do like Tony Finau. I mean, plus 3,500. This is just a player who's so consistent in the major championships. We saw him kind of get it together for the PGA, come very close there on a longer, wetter golf course there too on the West Coast, excuse me. And look, Finau's finished inside the top 10 in both of his previous Masters experiences. This is going to be his 3rd time playing at the Masters. He just handles this course well. Again, lots of room off the tee for Tony Finau. He sprays it a bit, but it's not going to matter that much at Augusta. And with how far he hits it, even if the course plays wet, I still think he's going to be able to handle it. So I like Finau at plus 3,500. I think those are really good odds. And similarly, I kind of like Hideki Matsuyama. Coming off a good week last week, his odds have dropped a bit. He's around plus 2,800, but he's hitting it well. He's played Augusta a lot. He's got a lot of experience, and it feels like this is kind of around the time where you'd expect Hideki maybe to hit. Now, obviously, he's not a prolific winner, someone who hits a ton of wins. He hasn't won since 2017. But again, we're getting better odds on him, plus 2,800 than a lot of the favorites. Double a guy like, say, Xander Schauffele. I like that. I like taking those odds on Hideki, who's a really good par 5 scorer. And you know what? With the wet greens and maybe bad weather, if it doesn't become such a score fest, I think that might even favor a guy like Hideki. Just won't put as much pressure on him to make birdies. His short game has looked really good lately too, so give me some Hideki Matsuyama at plus 2,800. I like that bet. And the last guy I'm going to mention in this video, guys, is going to be Paul Casey. Now, Paul Casey's form since the U.S. Open hasn't looked that good, but we've seen him peak for 2 majors already. He wasn't playing good before the PGA Championship either. Just about ended up winning it there as well. This is a player with a ton of course experience at Augusta. Multiple top 5 finishes. And again, Paul Casey, a guy who has played pretty well at the Open Championship over his career. He's got experience playing in bad weather. I think if it gets a little wet, a little windy, and a little cold, I think that really favors a veteran like Paul Casey. Maybe the distance off the tee won't be as big a deal. He has struck it well off the tee, though. So I do like Paul Casey at plus 600. Those are going to be my 4 sort of value outrights that I'm going to throw out for this video. But guys, make sure you check out that betting preview up on linemovement.com after you're done watching this video. It will be updated through the week with a few more bets, top 10s, top 20s, matchups as well. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we'll talk to you again soon.